a flow here at the edge of a large waterfall. This is the only spot around here that has a good enough signal, so so I'm going to try to do a Bible reading while I'm in this spot. This is kind of a touristy area. There's like people that might come by, so I have to try to get the reading done before it gets too crazy. See, I think I have a decent angle. I think it'll work. Actually, let me change this just a tad. Should be fine. Oh, perfect seat. It's like exactly flawless. I got my chair out and I was like, wait a minute, I could just sit over there. I am right on the edge though, so I have to hope that there's some stability in these rocks for a couple hundred more years. Anyway, I can get going. Starting a new book of the Bible, Exodus, second book of the Bible. We just finished Genesis recently. So we're going to be reading Exodus 1 through 3 and Matthew chapter 8, verses 14 to 34. It's a Sunday morning, so this is kind of like my church, I guess, just reading the Word out in nature. Maybe blessing some others as they drop by the streams. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Pray that you would bless this reading in your Word and multiply just the words that are said. It's kind of amazing how vibrating molecules in the air can change lives. Transmitting from my mouth to a microphone, wirelessly to my phone, over the internet to other people that might be watching. It's not my voice, but your word that has the power to change lives and encourage and challenge people, including myself. Pray that you would do that today, and thank you for all your blessings, and we praise you for your glory, your power, and your majesty. Just please protect us from evil this week, and we'll give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Let me check. I don't think chat is on the screen, but I should check just to make sure. We're good. Exodus chapter 1. These are the names of the sons of Israel who went to Egypt with Jacob, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. The descendants of Jacob numbered 70 in all, including Joseph, who was already in Egypt. Now Joseph and all his brothers and all that generation died, but the Israelites were fruitful and increased rapidly. They multiplied and became exceedingly numerous, so that the land was filled with them. Then a new king, who did not know Joseph, came to power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become too numerous and too powerful for us. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, or they will increase even more. And if a war breaks out, they may join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country. So the Egyptians appointed taskmasters over the Israelites to oppress them with forced labor. As a result, they built Pithom and Ramses as store cities for Pharaoh. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and flourished. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites. They worked the Israelites ruthlessly and made their lives bitter with hard labor in brick and mortar and with all kinds of work in the fields. Every service they imposed was harsh. Then the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, "When you help the Hebrew women give birth, observe them on the birth stools. If the child is a son, kill him. But if it is a daughter, let her live." The midwives, however, feared God and did not do as the king of Egypt had instructed. They let the boys live. So the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, "Why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live?" The midwives answered Pharaoh, "The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before a midwife arrives." So God was good to the midwives, and the people multiplied and became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, "Every son born to the Hebrews you must throw into the Nile, but every daughter you may allow to live." Exodus chapter 2. Now a man of the house of Levi married a daughter of Levi, and she conceived and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she got him a papyrus basket and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in the basket and set it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. And his sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Soon the daughter of Pharaoh went down to bathe in the Nile, and her attendants were walking along the riverbank. And when she saw the basket among the reeds, she sent her maidservant to retrieve it. When she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the little boy was crying. So she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call one of the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you?" "Go ahead," Pharaoh's daughter told her, and the girl went and called the boy's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will pay your wages." So the woman took the boy and nursed him. When the child had grown older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses and explained, "I drew him out of the water." One day, after Moses had grown up, he went out to his own people and observed their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. After looking this way and that and seeing no one, he struck down the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. The next day, Moses went out and saw 2 Hebrews fighting. He asked the one in the wrong, "Why are you attacking your companion?" But the man replied, "Who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you planning to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and thought, "This thing I have done has surely become known." When Pharaoh heard about this matter, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and settled in the land of Midian, where he sat down beside a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And when some shepherds came along and drove them away, Moses rose up to help them and water their flock. When the daughters returned to their father Reuel, he asked them, "Why have you returned so early today?" "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds," they replied. "He even drew water for us and watered the flock." "So where is he?" their father asked. "Why did you leave the man behind? Invite him to have something to eat." Moses agreed to stay with the man, and he gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. And she gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, saying, "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land." After a long time, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned and cried out under their burden of slavery, and their cry for deliverance from bondage ascended to God. So God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God saw the Israelites and took notice. Still no visitors that I've seen, unless they walked by real quick. There could be some visitors over there too. I'm going to try to get this reading done before a bunch of people show up, because they probably will on a Sunday. This is an awesome spot. I can't believe there's a signal here. It's actually a really good signal too. Exodus chapter 3. Meanwhile, Moses was shepherding the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from within a bush. Moses saw the bush ablaze with fire, but it was not consumed. So Moses thought, I must go over and see this marvelous sight. Why is the bush not burning up? When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called out to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. Here I am, he answered. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. And he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the affliction of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their oppressors, and I am aware of their sufferings. I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land to a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen how severely the Egyptians are oppressing them. Therefore go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people the Israelites out of Egypt. But Moses asked God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites up out of Egypt? I will surely be with you, God said, and this will be the sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, all of you will worship God on this mountain. Then Moses asked God, Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, What is his name? What should I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also told Moses, Say to the Israelites, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is how I am to be remembered in every generation. Go assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has appeared to me and said, I have surely attended to you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt, and I have promised to bring you up out of your affliction in Egypt, into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of Israel will listen to what you say, and you must go with them to the king of Egypt and tell him, The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Now please let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness so that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not allow you to go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders I will perform among them. And after that he will release you. And I will grant this people such favor in the sight of the Egyptians that when you leave, you will not go away empty-handed. Every woman shall ask her neighbor and any woman staying in her house for silver and gold jewelry and clothing, and you will put them on your sons and daughters. So you will plunder the Egyptians. All right, just one more chapter, the last part of Matthew chapter 8. It's too bad. I mean, I didn't actually check, but I seriously doubt that down here below the waterfall, it'd be super cool if there was a signal down there, but I really doubt it. If I remember at the end when I'm done, I'll bring the camera over here so you can see what it's all about. I can't move much though because it's only right here where there's a signal. I already walked over that way where there's another waterfall and there's like no signal over there, so it's like right here. Matthew chapter 8, starting in verse 14. When Jesus arrived at Peter's house, he saw Peter's mother-in-law sick in bed with a fever. So he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and began to serve him. When evening came, many who were demon-possessed were brought to Jesus, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took on our infirmities and carried our diseases. When Jesus saw a large crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the sea. And one of the scribes came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another of his disciples requested, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead." When he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. Suddenly a violent storm came up on the sea, so that the boat was engulfed by the waves. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us, we are perishing." "You of little faith," Jesus replied, "why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and it was perfectly calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him." When Jesus arrived on the other side in the region of the Gadarenes, he was met by 2 demon-possessed men coming from the tombs. They were so violent that no one could pass that way. "What do you want with us, Son of God?" they shouted. "Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time?" In the distance, a large herd of pigs was feeding, so the demons begged Jesus, "If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs." "Go," he told them. So they came out and went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and died in the waters. Those tending the pigs ran off into the town and reported all this, including the account of the demon-possessed men. Then the whole town went out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. All right, that's it for this reading. That's interesting. The sun must be behind a cloud or something, because a minute ago I could see the sun kind of covering some of these trees down below, but now it's like farther out. It's weird. I'll try to get the camera over here a little bit just to show the view. Alright, I think I'm going to head out. I'm going to be doing a little bit more hiking today, so I'm going to check signal as I go. If I see any spot that has an adequate signal, I'll do another Bible reading somewhere. But it might be a while because I have to, it can take a while to hike somewhere. But anyway, thanks for joining me. I might see you later today, hopefully. Yeah, thanks. Later.